Storyblocks Audio. 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 Storyblocks Audio.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming. Really appreciate you for being here. It's been a long day for me. Who's had a long day? I think everyone does. You know, technology, when it came into back in the 60s and 70s, or 80s and 90s, the internet, it was supposed to make our lives easier. Seems like it made it faster and harder. But welcome, everybody. I want to just thank everybody for being here. We really appreciate you being here. And I want to take the time to just these doors are open because of people who support us. And today I just want to thank the Rick Brown community, the Rick Brown Family Funeral Home. They always are our major sponsors right now. They're always helping us, so we really appreciate them. And let's give them a hand. All right, Rick. And Tim, if you all know Tim, he's a great guy, and their whole family. So we just want to mention them. So I have announcements. I have announcements. I asked a few guys if they thought this was a good idea. Well, the first announcement I have is I'm just going to mention the date. Tuesday, September 12th. Tuesday, September 12th. Put it on your calendar. Mark it. That we're having our second annual Believing in the Impossible fundraising event. It was great. We had it last year. It was incredible. It's a fundraising event. It's called the Believing in the Impossible Gala. The second annual auction dinner. There you go. Yep, it's a silent auction, but it's really, really good. It was great. We're going to have a lot more sponsors this year. More people are knowing about what we do, and so it's great. And the second announcement is the end of this month, the last Thursday. I think I'm gonna, if it works out well, and if you guys respond, I'm gonna do something that I've never done before, and that is have a men's meeting only. Sorry, guys, girls, a men's meeting only. I've talked to several men. And, as men, there's some things that we need to talk about that we rather talk about it with each other. So I think it's going to be important, and I'm going to do that so that you can invite somebody as well. Maybe he's never been to Choose a Change, and we're going to talk about men's issues and see how that goes. What do y'all think? Anybody? Good? Yeah. Online, raise your hand. So, mark your calendars also. The last Thursday of this month, which is the 29th. The 29th is going to be a men's only meeting. Sorry, girls. So, that is what I have. So, let's get started, guys. My name is Orlando Salinas, and I am a proud member of the Choose a Change mentoring program. You are sitting in the right smack into our 90-day transitional reentry program. So the Choose a Change program is a self-supporting Christian-based group supported by the Choose a Change Foundation. There's no fee to attend, but we do encourage donations from our members and anyone who believes in what we are doing. The only requirement for membership is a sincere desire. That's why I always put it there. Desire to change your life. We're on a mission to restore families by inspiring, challenging, and equipping, specifically men, because we need more help, to be better fathers, husbands, and leaders in our community. So if you're ready to change your life, then you're in the right place. Through this program, you will learn exactly where to start your life change journey, tools and resources to keep you going, and a support system to help you reach your goals. The Choose to Change mentoring program believes in 3 key elements of life. Number 1, here's what we believe. We believe in the life-changing power of God through faith in Jesus Christ. Number 2, we believe that God has already done his part, and now it's our responsibility to learn to do ours. And number 3, we believe that success or failure is a choice. And the choice is yours. So if you're ready, say I'm ready. All right, I heard a guy once say about success. He says the successful people will tell you about that they're successful. The unsuccessful people won't. Anyway, that wasn't the quote, but I'll think about it later. Guys, I want to talk about the mind today. I want to talk about mindset. Part of the process of change, there's a lot of ingredients when it comes to overcoming in life and changing your life and changing directions in life. This is what this is all about. And I'm getting more serious, and well, I've always been serious, but I'm feeling a lot better about what I'm teaching, and I want to help you understand what I'm teaching. You know, the reason I put it in steps is because it's not really steps, but I like looking because we're going somewhere. When you're working on your life, we're going somewhere. And and the main core ingredient to the 7 major keys to life change is the mind, your philosophy, mindset. So I want to talk to you about philosophy, mindset today. You with me? All right. In his book, there's a book called Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. Has anybody ever heard of that book? The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It is by a man named Steve Covey, and listen to what he said about this book. He said, to achieve real change in your life, listen closely, to achieve real change in your life, he says, number 1, you're going to need to work on your character. Number 2, he says, you're going to have to form new habits. And 3, he says, you have to change the core fundamental beliefs. You're going to have to change the core fundamental belief that make up your world view. And this is what I teach in here. This is what this is all about. He goes on to say that real change, real personal change, cannot be achieved through shortcuts. In other words, you hear me say it all the time, right? There's no easy way to the top. There's no easy way out of the mess that we've created for our lives, many of us. There's no easy way out. And many of us are learning that. Many of us are going through it. Many of us have gone through it. He goes on to say, if you want real change for your destiny, if you want to change your destiny, that is, your future, where you're going, you must change your habits and your character. Working from the inside out. From the moment you drastically change yourself, you begin to change the world around you. To change your life, you need to change yourself. And this is, I read that book in prison. Man, that was one of the hardest books I ever had to read, because they had so many of these big words that I didn't understand. But I got the idea. And everything I teach is about helping you change yourself. Because if you can change yourself, meaning how you think, your habits, your actions, your attitudes, everything starts changing for you. People start liking you more. People start talking to you more. And life starts changing. So that's why I teach what I teach. It's a process. So let's talk about this idea of mindset, this third key, the major key to life change. It's called mindset and philosophy. Before we get started, as we get started, let me mention 3 powerful things about this key, the mindset. Mindset and philosophy is the core ingredient to changing your life. You need to understand that. It's the core ingredient. This is why so many people don't change. This is why so many people can't change. This is why so many people quit, because they don't understand that changing their mind and the way they think is the core ingredient. That's what you have to do. You have to. It is the core to your life change journey. You must understand this. You've got to understand this, guys. Your mind, the way you think. When I first heard this, I didn't get it. I really didn't get it. I couldn't understand what people were trying to tell me. I was a drug addict. I learned this, and I was in rehab, I remember. And the first time this counselor told me, Orlando, your problem is your mindset. And I said, what does that mean? I said, my problem is I drink. My problem is I put needles in my arm. That's my problem. Help me change that. But I didn't understand that if I changed my mind. She said this powerful thing that starts till this day. This was like, I don't know, 20 years ago, maybe, no, 30 years ago, maybe. And she said this, Orlando, let me help you explain something. The reason it's your mind is because it's how you see things. It's your worldview. He says, because everything that you have in your mind is like there's something in our mind, she says, when it goes through your eyes and your ears, we have like these filters. And these filters are called your mindset or your subconscious. And I'm going to talk about that. He says, in everything you've ever learned and known, you view life through these filters that you've established in your life. And man, I didn't understand what she was trying to tell me till I started learning and reading books like The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People and many, many other books that I learned. So I want to talk to you about these filters that you've been looking at your life through up to this point in your life, which is your biggest obstacle, and you don't even realize it. So this is the first thing I want you to understand. That is, if you don't understand this, or that is the core ingredient to your life change. That's the first thing I want you to understand. The second thing I want you to understand is that if you don't understand this key or this major key, you won't change. Things are not going to get better. So that's how important it is. You're just not going to. It's not going to happen for you. Tienes que cambiar filtro. That's right. He said, cámbiale el filtro. In other words, we're going to have to change the filters. Like you've changed it in your car and at home, the air conditioning. So yes, you have to change your filters. Because if you don't, you're not going to change your life. Number 3, the third thing you need to really understand is that it's a real battle. It's a real battle. It's a real battle. There is a real battle for your mind every day. Somebody wants to take control of it. And if you don't take control of your mind, guess what? Somebody else already did. That's powerful stuff, man. And you may not understand all that right now, but keep that in mind. And we're going to talk about that right now. So what I'm about to share with you is 3 basic things. Number 1, we're going to learn the basics of how the mind works. I'm going to help you discover or uncover the power of the subconscious. And then I'm going to help you learn how to start or get you started on retraining your mind. You all ready? So, what is this word? What does philosophy mean? Does anybody know what philosophy means? Anybody want to give it a shot? Go ahead.
The way you live your life?
Mm,
Like a motto or...
No, it's yes and no. Why do you say that? What do you mean?
Well, like, I would say... Well, there's people that use philosophy in the way they, like poetry.
Because you're right, but I just want to make sure I understand that you're telling me that.
Like a poetry or in a way where they feel comfortable in the way they see things, say, for like...
In the way they see things?
Like a person that works out, they have that philosophy, the mindset of like, this is how I'm gonna do and adjust things to.
This is how I'm gonna live. This is me.
Or a person that reads or draws, they're like, I'm gonna stick to this plan because I'm just gonna be doing this, pretty much.
That you're on the right track. Philosophy has to do with how you live because of how you think, and that's important. I had no idea what it meant. It could, or how it could help me when I first heard this. But today I am going to explain to you exactly what it means. So, listen to what Google says about it. Philosophy. I'm defining the word philosophy and why it's so important. Here you go. Philosophy is a particular system or philosophical thought. In other words, it's a certain way of thinking. Right? We all have different mindsets, different philosophies for living. Right? It goes on to say, it's a study of a theoretical basis or a particular branch of knowledge or experience. But here's the one that you need to understand. It's a theory or belief held by a person or an organization, listen to this, that acts as a guiding principle to your behavior. Did you get that? It's that filter. Philosophy is that filter in your mind that acts as a guiding principle to your behavior. In other words, because of that filter, because of your philosophy, is why you act the way you act, why you do the things you do, because it's that filter. Because have you ever said, I'm not going to do that no more, and you did it anyway? It's the filter. And the stronger the filter that is, that philosophy of yours, the harder it is to change. You had a question?
When you say that, because like my philosophy before this was quid pro quo. For many years, it was quid pro quo. That was my philosophy. That's the way that I live my life.
You're going to have to explain what that means to me.
This for that.
This or that?
This for that.
Oh, okay.
Quid pro quo.
Okay.
I lived my life many years throughout my addiction thinking that was my philosophy. My philosophy was quid pro quo. This for that. I do this, you do that.
Okay. So see, that was your belief system. Okay? That's right. So let me read and fill in the blanks here, in case you didn't understand what I'm saying. Our lives are greatly affected by what you know, by what's in that filter, and what you believe. That's what the filter, whatever's in that filter of what you know and what you believe, and what we know and believe determines the choices and decisions you make on a daily basis. That's what it means by it's a guiding force or a guiding, it acts as a, how did it say it? The guiding, lost it, principle to your behaviors, the way you think. So everybody understands? Philosophy is what we call your mindset. Does everybody understand that? Your mindset, how you think. It's going to come together here, but stay with me, guys. So in other words, let me give you an example. If you think it's okay to lie, that's your philosophy. He said, my philosophy was, you do something for me, I do something for you. But what if your philosophy was, you'll lie just to get whatever you want? That's your philosophy. I'm sure the drug addicts, that's what we did. Did you do that? There you go. We lied to get who did that? Lied to get whatever you wanted. That's what we do. It's normal, especially for us sinners, us human beings. We're just normal liars, cheaters. So if you believe that, then what's going to happen? If you believe it's okay to lie, what are you going to do? That's your guiding principle. Okay, you got it now? If you believe it's okay to cheat, remember, we're talking about philosophy and the way you think, your mindset. Then what are you going to do? You're going to cheat. That's how this stuff works. And I'm spending time on this because you need to understand this. That sometimes it doesn't matter what you want to do. If your philosophy, your mindset says differently, you're not going to do it. If you believe your life can not change. If you believe in your mind, it is huge, listen closely, that nothing will ever change for you, that life will never get better, then what do you think, how are you going to feel? What are you going to do? You're going to give up. Can you see how important your mindset is? It's huge. I didn't know that. And what happens is for most of us, you go into your little pity party, right? Who loves that little room in your mind? You go into that little pity party and you start feeling sorry for yourself. And man, that's where you start going downhill, right? And that's when you tell the doctor that you have all these voices in your head and he'll give you medication. Right, brother? He sure will. Anyway, y'all getting this, right? I remember the first time I heard this, man, it just didn't make no sense to me. But here we go. Let's talk about this. Have you ever heard this saying before? You can do anything you want if you just put your mind to it. Who's ever heard that? Whose mother told you that? My mother told me that. If you can do anything, son. She'd see me all messed up and understanding, say, man, you're so smart. You can do anything if you just set your mind to it. So why didn't we do it? Because we didn't know how to set our mind to it. And besides that, we had a lot of other obstacles. And this is what this little training right now is all about. Helping you learn how to set your mind to it so that we can overcome these obstacles, the things that we're facing. So let's talk about the mind. Let me break down the mind for you. It's going to get better now. Now that I have all this, I'm going to take all this off so that I want you to listen closely. We're going to talk about the mind. All right? Does anybody know how the mind works? The mind has two basic parts. Who knows what they are? That's right. Conscious. I don't know if that's how you spell it, but we're going to spell it that way. And conscience. I don't know how to spell it, so don't. And this is 85 to 90%. Conscious and subconscious. Who can tell me the difference? Anybody want to give it a try? The difference, this is important. I explained all the philosophy for a reason. Now I'm going to explain how it works in the mind.
I think the subconscious is things that you believe, but you're not in control of. Where your conscience is where you know what you're thinking. But
You know what you're thinking. Yeah, you're alive, you're awake. So let me help you. Your subconscious is where all the filters are. Remember? Have these little filters? That's all those little filters. That's your subconscious. They're in there. They're already programmed. That's your subconscious. Subconscious. And guess what? 85 to 90% of your life is driven by your subconscious. You need to understand that. Let me repeat that. 85 to 90% of how you live on a daily basis is driven by your subconscious. In other words, you ever heard of that we're creatures of habit? This is why. Because you're already programmed. This is why it's so hard to get rid of that obsession to use. Because it's so engraved in us as drug addicts. It's in the filter. This is going to get better. So, that's the subconscious. And the conscious is what you're using right now. The subconscious is the storehouse. Let me read it. So that the subconscious is like the storehouse, is where everything is stored. All those thoughts and emotions, and they're stored there. Let me give you an example. Where'd you go to high school? Okay. You didn't have that at the top of your head right now. But you know where you went? You went to your filter. That's how powerful your mind is. And boom, you brought it up. See, right? What was the name of your high school teacher? Man, you're smart. Harper. But you see how you start, because you start thinking, you go into your files. So you understand the subconscious, right? That's where it's all. So the conscious is what you're using right now. Your conscious is like your eyes and your ears. You hear, you touch, you smell. You're conscious, you're alive. When you're in the hospital, what do they say if you're not conscious? They're unconscious. You're not aware. You're not alive. And that's only 10 to 15% of what we use on a daily basis. Because everything else is habitual. Isn't that crazy? How you act from the time you woke up to the time you're going to go to bed tonight. Everything you're doing, your mannerism, your laugh, your everything is in the subconscious. And by the way, let me give you this little piece of advice. And by the way, there's another by the way. I'm just giving you there's so much to learn about the mind, and they're still trying to figure it out. Some scientists believe that there's more in the brain that we never even thought that was there. And we just use a very small part of our brains. And that's why so many people can do so many great things, because they tapped into something that we normally don't if you're not seeking it. You have to fight for it. You have to seek for it. So then there's a lot to learn. And the second thing I wanted to share is I don't know everything. But I know if you understand this part, it's going to take you a long way. You're going to understand why you can't change and why you feel so miserable sometimes. Because you got a lot of baggage, a lot of junk in that subconscious that comes up once in a while, and it guides you. So the bottom line, and why this is so important to understand, is that if you are to recreate your life, if you're going to change your life, and we're all trying to recreate it, right? Get it better. If you're going to get it better, brother, then you must learn how to change this programming. That's what this class is all about. Helping you change that programming in your subconscious. Does this make sense to anybody so far? This is how this works. Listen, I started reading this stuff, man, it would just go over my head. I didn't understand it. But I've read a lot of books. And now it makes sense. It makes so much sense. And I'm still trying to change my mindsets on many things. And you're always going to do this as you continue to grow and learn. Then you must learn how to change your programming in the mind subconscious, which is called your mindset, your philosophy. So this should help you understand why bad habits are so hard to break. Why, like smoking, drinking, using drugs, because part of your programming is based on repetition. And the more you do something, the more is engraved in your mind. And the harder it is to get out. You ever heard people say, you can break a habit in 15 days or 30 days, or who's ever heard that? But that's why they say that. This is why I give you guys a 90-day challenge, and that's why I created this 90-day program. Because if you just come consistently for 90 days, I promise you something's going to happen. You're going to learn something. And you're going to start getting convicted or serious about your life change journey. Because part of the programming is just repetition. So then in order to change this, in other words, the way you built this is by repetition. It's years in the making. So guess what it's going to take to reprogram? Repetition. The good news is that you can reprogram faster. So let's start the reprogram. Let's close with reprogramming. How's that? So how do you do that? How do you reprogram? There's a 5-step process for renewing the subconscious that I'm going to give you. And this is what I have used. This is what everybody else that I've ever known used. This is what every philosopher, counselor, mentor will teach you. Maybe in a different way. But this is it right here. You want to change your life? Here you go. The first thing you need to do is stop the junk. Stop the junk. What would be junk into your mind and eyes? What would be considered junk? Well, the basic stuff is you got to stop using. So let's put the basic stuff. Drugs and alcohol. Drugs and alcohol. Okay, that's the basic stuff. Well, let's put pornography there. How about that? I'm not going to even touch that one right now. I would leave that one for the men's class. Because that one's a monster. But you got to stop it. You got to stop the junk, right? In sobriety, it's really simple. You're either sober or you're not. It's like being pregnant, right? You're either pregnant or you're not. You can't be half pregnant. You can't be half sober. What's a better idea? Anybody a better illustration? Or a different illustration? Well, Jesus said there's two roads. How about that? It's powerful. Now I understand it so clearly. You can't be half-hearted and change your life. You can't just pretend like you're going to change and don't change. It doesn't make any sense. I used to tell people, and I guess I can still say it. You know, I forgot what I was going to say. I knew what I was going to say, but I don't know the first part, so I'm not going to say it.
Can I just put in that?
Yes. Does anybody have something to say about this so far?
Well, to me, like when I think about like the junk is kind of like the desires, you know, that because your mind it's a battle in itself, right? 'Cause
Right.
between good and evil, and then your heart, right? It comes things that you want but are not good for you.
Okay, so that's drugs, alcohol, and that's physical. But what else do we put in our mind that's not good?
Well, it could vary depending on the situation and the person, right? It just if you're trying to become successful or you're trying to get away from a certain lifestyle, the battles that you fight within, so like overspending or things you don't need, or thoughts that you don't need, bad thoughts. Like
Bad thoughts.
Like I want to say going around places that you shouldn't be. You know, that's junk. You just put it to the side. Your conscious is your subconscious is gonna bring it up, or your conscious is gonna tell you don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where you're changing, you're reprogramming.
You're reprogrammed through your environment, is what you're saying, and that's true. Frank.
So I have a list here that someone put on the WhatsApp, so I saved it. It's 8 things to give up.
Okay.
Number 1, self-rejection.
Okay.
Number 2, negative self-talk.
Negative self-talk. There you go. Negative self-talk.
Number-
Bad thoughts, which is the bad thought.
Yes. Number 3, criticizing others. Number 4, being a people pleaser. Number 5, fear of failure. Number 6, procrastination. Number 7, holding on to grudges. And number 8, expecting perfection.
So, Rafael shared a little quote with me today, or yesterday actually, and see if you guys get this. Don't give up on the hopes and dreams or the desires that God has put in your heart, if it was God. Let me repeat that. Don't give up on the hopes and dreams and desires that you have if God put them in there. In other words, if they're good, they're good for you. And those are, you still have to weigh them. He says what you should give up is the idea that how you thought they were supposed to be given to you. In other words, the idea of how you thought they were going to become, or the idea of why they haven't come. In other words, you have hopes and dreams. You want to change. You want to do better. But things are not working out the way you thought they would. You need to give that up. Thinking that things are not going the way you want them. That's what you have to give up. On your timeline, that's what you have to give up. What you thought it was supposed to look like, that's what you're supposed to give up. Not on your dreams, because you're going to be frustrated. You're going to want to quit. You're going to feel like this is not working. You're going to feel like God is not there. You're going to feel like God's not fair. Right? Those are the things you want to give up. But don't give up on the dream and the hope. So you stop the junk. Number one. Number two, you start feeding your mind. Now that you stop the junk, now let's start putting new stuff in there. Because it's going to take a while to filter out the stuff. That's why I tell people to read. Don't watch any of this junk anymore. You know, a lot of people here in the Valle are hooked on, well, now they're hooked on their phones, but novelas. When I go cut my hair, I'm always watching the novela, and they're always in drama. Always, always. No matter what day, what time it is, there's always drama. And it's in Spanish. It's even more drama. Jesús, María, no estaba allí. It's crazy. And so if you're hooked on stuff like this is why you got to stop the junk. Then you're going to act like this. This is why I listen to so many Mexican people, and they act and they dress and they like the novelas. It's crazy to watch. See or no? Who knows what I'm talking about? I'm serious. And by the way, that's why how most of us we act and dress and like how we want to be seen. And if you believe, remember back to the mindset that that's how life is, and because you watch it all the time, you think you think that you're supposed to wear mini dress up to here to church. That would be for girls. Or you think you should have your shirt off like this, with no undershirt and a big old rosario or something, walking around like this. Oh, and the chongo in the back. Oh. Well, anyway, y'all know what I'm talking about, right? So you have to start reading something different, listening to something different. That's why I get you to read a proverb every day. Has it helped you? It makes sense, right? You read something and it's just expanding your mind. What you're doing is you're retraining, you're reprogramming. That there's a purpose of why I tell you what I tell you. Because you won't understand it at first if I try to explain all this to you. No, if you just give me 90 days and just do this. That's all. Just do it. Don't worry why. You'll understand later. This is why we do it. Reading books. You want to be a good husband? Read books on marriage, on being a father. Read them. I'm telling you, it'll change your life. You learn how to treat your wife. You learn how to bring flowers once in a while, right? How to leave little notes. How to send little emojis. My wife is back there. Hey, there you go. But you start learning what it takes for the long haul. So y'all got that? So, what can you put in your mind? Let me give you an example. Philippians 4, 8, and 6. Here's what it says. Philippians 4, 8, and 6. Finally, this is Paul the Apostle helping people that are struggling with their mind and their life. He's telling them, okay, here's what you need to do. He says, finally, my brother, whatever things are true, whatever things are noble, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of a good report, if there's any virtue, if there's any praiseworthiness to these things, listen to what it says. meditate on these things and get rid of the junk. Yes, sir.
It says there on Philippians 4, it says, mine starts like, it says, fix your thoughts.
Oh, there you go.
Fix your thoughts.
Fix your thoughts. I'm telling you guys, you stick around long enough, you'll realize I'm not as crazy as I look. There's a little something up there. I just need to learn to teach it better. So then those are the first two steps. You stop the junk and you start putting new good stuff in. It's like physical, whether it be physically, you start working out, you start drinking a lot of water, you start watching what you eat, and I watch what I eat as I'm eating it. No, I try. I eat anything and everything, but I cut I stopped buying candies from Home Depot because I live there, so I literally stopped buying candies. Because one candy, que puede ser one candy, pero todos los días. So I literally stopped doing that. I stopped drinking regular Cokes. I drink Diet Cokes. I mean, I'm telling you, I do what I'm telling you that I do. So there you go. Stop the junk and start putting new things, right? So here's the next three. Get involved. Start coming to church. And this is exactly what you did, Rich. You got involved. Because this is the only way it's gonna work. Getting involved. Coming to church. Coming to choose the change. Building new relationships. This is what it's about. Building a new foundation for your life. A new mindset. Number 4, give. Learn to give. Learn to give of your time, service, of your efforts. You do this in your job. See, they don't know you're doing this. You're doing a great job. Well, yeah, you're working for the Lord. You're working for yourself. You're working to better who you are. That's why you give your efforts at work. And number 5 is the one we all need. Anybody want to guess what that one is? Prayer. Well, that could be number 1. But the problem is you need to do all 5 of these in order to see some progress. Because some people, all they want to do is pray and want God to fix everything. God's not going to fix everything. That's why I read every day here. It's God. We believe God has already done his part, and it is our responsibility to learn to do our part. That's how it works. Does anybody have, those are the 5. Number 1, stop the junk, the input. Number 2, start putting new good stuff in your mind and your actions. Number 3, get involved. Church, choose a change, activities, action that gets you going. And there's a purpose for that as well. Usually it's building new relationship. Number 4, learn to give of your time, your skills, and your money. And number 5, pray. And that's how this stuff works. That's how you're going to renew the subconscious. There's no other way to do it. Anybody have anything here? While we're here, we're going to go ahead and pass the donation bucket. But where's my money? There it is. I got some here. Guys, we always pass around a donation plate here, and I just want to thank my monthly sponsors. We have increased our monthly sponsors. I think the latest one, I forgot his name. Oh man. But I know in the last few weeks, I've had Alex Badillo join, Juan Peña, and if I forgot your name, please forgive me. Mike, right? I think Mike Trejo. Thank you, Mike, for being. We're always looking for monthly donors. I'm always looking for people to do $10, $20, $30 a month. That's all we're looking for. $10, just because we need to show that people are supporting us. So if you're watching us online, we're always grateful for people who help us and support us. And those because monthly donors are so important. They're the most important part of our sponsors, our monthly donors. It is so important. So anybody else have anything to say? Oh, if you're watching online, you could always go to donatectc.com. 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 You know what CTC means, right? Oh, man. There you go. All right, I'll close with the scripture, guys. And if you have any other questions, here you go. Everything we talked about is scriptural. So let me read you the scriptures. I just didn't want to stop at every scripture. Romans 12, 1 and 2. I beseech you, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your body a living sacrifice. It takes all of you, which is acceptable unto God. And be not conformed to this world. In other words, this way of thinking. And be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, your subconscious. Second Corinthians 10, 3 and 5. So we walk in the flesh. We walking in the flesh, but that's not our war. We don't war against the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare, there's a battle. The battle is real, I told you. It's not carnal, it's not physical, but it is mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. All this right here is strongholds. You have strongholds in your mind. And they're really in there. They're engraved. But that's why we need prayer. What does it say in your Bible?
He said, we're human.
Take that mic.
It says, we are human, but we don't wage war as humans do. We use God's mighty weapons, not worldly weapons, to knock down the stronghold of human reasoning and to destroy false arguments.
Yep. And let me give you the last scripture, and I want you to this will put it all together for you. That what I'm teaching you is really biblical. And that's in Ephesians 6, 10 to 14. Listen to what it says. It says, finding my brother. You know what? That's not the one I want to read. Oh, well, but I'm going to read it anyway. Be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. He's telling you to be strong. And put on the whole armor of God. Right? That you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against powers, principalities, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Therefore, take on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand. It's a fight in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. You need to fight. If you want to change that, it's going to be a battle. So we're good? And I can give you more scriptures and more and more and more. Ephesians 2. Go read it for you. In fact, read all Ephesians. There's your homework. Ephesians. Does anybody have anything to share? Did anybody read it, learn anything? All right. Nobody? All right, then we're going to close because today is a very special day. Today is Hugo's birthday. Yeah. So we have a cake. We have a cake for Hugo. But before we close, and those of you watching online, we're going to sing Happy Birthday. Happy birthday. So here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Hugo, happy birthday to you. All right. Guys, next week, we're going to do a second shot on the mind because there's a lot to learn about the mind. Okay? And then we'll just take it from there and we continue on this 90-day journey. No matter where you started, we're going to keep going forward. Yeah? So that's all we have tonight. Thank you for watching. And keep